Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to an episode of my F1 22 My Team Career Mode. This is episode number 34 today for the Italian Grand Prix in Season 2. If you guys did miss the previous episode at Spa, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. That was an absurd race, 300 IQ strategy gamble that paid off big time in a changeable condition race from wet to dry. Like I said, if you haven't seen it by now, then definitely go check it out, because spoiler alert, we went on to win our second race of the season, and we did it on intermediates on a bone dry circuit, just about. I think, you know, with a couple of more laps, Hamilton probably would have had us, but we went for the gamble. We weren't going to catch him if we had made that final pit stop onto dries. We tried our inters. They pretty much burnt out into slicks, I think. There was pretty good traction every single time we exit every corner. You know, mid-corner, we obviously lost a bit because the inters just don't have the same rubber grip as normal slick tyres, but out of corners wasn't actually too bad, to be honest, and we made it work. So it was a gamble. We rolled the dice big time, and sometimes you got to do that in Formula 1, and it paid off for us big time, and we had to, because Mercedes are getting quicker again. Our other rivals, Red Bull, McLaren, they have been upgrading a bit more than us as of late, and our rate of development has slowed down, because as you can see, we've only got just under 1,500 R&D points, but now upgrades are costing 2.5k, you know, so it's a lot. We're having to wait, you know, 2 episodes just to afford one major upgrade. So the rate at which we are improving this car is slowing down, and of course with the career mode sliders we've got, you know, boosted R&D, boosted cash for the AI, they're able to keep up a bit better pace, but it is making things very interesting, because you can see the grid spread is closing up so much since the start of the season. You know, I think towards Abu Dhabi, the final race of the season, we could get a pretty damn tight grid, and with no R&D reset in sight for Season 3, maybe that sets up an insane next season. But we're fully focused on this one right now, and we're somehow leading both championships in the drivers and constructors, but we've got a very quick Mercedes and Red Bull chasing us down. Verstappen and Hamilton still, you know, pretty damn consistent. Obviously, as of late, they've lost a few points to us, and that's how we've been able to gain that lead, but they are still there, and it's still very much just us three in the championship fight, because, you know, the last 2 races, ALBON, he's actually not scored any points, and he's kind of fallen away a little bit, lost a bit of that amazing momentum he had earlier on in the season. So I don't know if we can really count him fully in the fight anymore for the rest of the season, but he's definitely still going to be a very important driver for the constructors fight, because I think, you know, both Mercs and both Red Bulls, when everything goes their way, I think they'll be able to score quite well. So we need to make sure both of us are scoring still very well for that main fight. Of course, you know, with my team, us owning the team, the constructors is just as important these days as the drivers, in terms of, you know, for us, what we want to win out there. But we're going into qualifying then Saturday for the Italian Grand Prix, and it is a wet one, so the rain has followed us from Spa to Monza. But, you know, according to the forecast, it's going to be dry tomorrow and Sunday, so a bit of a weird one. We have to set up the car basically for the race, you know, lower wings here at Monza, trying to find that compromise of running the lowest downforce we can and getting away with it. That does mean, though, the car is feeling very skatish here on this Saturday in intermediate conditions. I mean, thank God it's not full wet. Inters, I mean, to be fair, in some ways, Inters is actually worse, I feel, because especially in the last F1 game, I think sometimes Inters definitely felt worse than full wets, because there just wasn't enough standing water to make those tyres work. But nonetheless, we're in the same boat with everyone else. Everyone's going to have that compromise of trying to set up for the race rather than this qualifying session. But we're doing quite well in Q1 then, beating ALBORNE, who's down in P9, ourselves in P4. But Red Bull are looking strong here. They look very weak, actually, surprisingly, around Spa last time out. Mercedes looked so strong and dominant, actually, in many ways, in the case of Hamilton. But here looks like the roles are reversed a bit. Mercedes on the back foot, Red Bull's up there, and even maybe McLaren in the hands of Ricciardo or Norris if they can get the lap in. And it's all about getting that lap in now in Q2 as we try and aim for the top 10 shootout. The rain not really letting up that much. I thought it was going to maybe get drier a little bit, but it's pretty much the same consistency, I would say, this entire Saturday so far. Across the line for us, that first lap, not that great for us down in the Ferraris, and just ahead of Drogovic in the Alfa Romeo, looking to gain a bit more time. First sector, though, red on our second flying lap. Second sector, though, gaining a decent chunk of time as we fly through these corners a little bit quicker, gaining about 2/10 on that exit alone as we entered sector 2. And then by the time we get towards the last corner, we're about 4/10 up, which I'm hoping will be enough, but we're down to P16. So the pressure is on to get through into the top 10 shootout, trying to find the grip into the final corner, and the rear end steps out, rear wing damage on the wall. And we weren't even full throttle, really, but even still, that's just how tricky those conditions are. And it's a little bit of RNG, I feel, sometimes on some of these corner exits with the curb. Sometimes it spits you out, sometimes not. The rear end just did not want to stick down. And that is us then out of this second part of qualifying. A bit of a mayhem, I would say, with Ricciardo also having a penalty, Tsunoda as well. So AIRBORNE, I think, maybe got a bit lucky there in that sense of getting through into P9. It may have been a difficult qualifying all round for our team, but you can see Verstappen reigns top with the two Mercedes cars then behind, gaining a bit of time, I would say. The two Ferraris are a bit of a shock. In the first, I think this is the first time in a long while since both of them have been in Q3. So all round a bit of chaos here on Saturday with some rain, always to be expected. But Sunday comes, it's going to be a dry race, so I'm just hoping we can bounce back a bit. But, you know, two of our rivals, Verstappen and Hamilton, up there. It's going to be a concern in terms of what they can do in the race versus ourselves. But I guess we've just got to back ourselves in terms of we know we've set the car up for the Sunday, so we'll generally feel better relative to all the people around us. I'm hoping. Let's go to the grid and find out.
Welcome back to one of only two countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest track in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some close action. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Norris, Alex Albon and Joe, Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Perez and Daniel Ricciardo, Ocon, Stroll, George Russell, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Drugovich. The owner driver, Tsunoda, Sebastian Vettel and Pierre Gasly, Magnussen, Mick Schumacher, Bottas and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. So let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great podium in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Right, so as expected, pretty strong qualifying from both Verstappen and Hamilton. Leclerc up there, though, so 2 times now the Ferrari's got into the top 3, really. So maybe Ferrari are slowly getting to grips with their car, speeding up a little bit. Both drivers getting more confident with focus, potentially, but still, they just have that same bad luck, and they just can't seem to convert it into, you know, both of them scoring very high points, you know, converting, you know, what was a pole last time out into anything like a podium or a win. And here a top 3 quali. We'll see how it goes today, but we've got some familiar names around us. Russell down the order here in P13. Ricciardo did have a penalty, but I saw in the grid sequence he's still in the top 10, so kind of almost like what we had earlier, maybe with the penalty not applying properly. I'm not sure, but we're getting ready with a very overly aggressive left to right there on the grid to warm up the tyres. A very wide burnout, as you can see, and we're raring to go then here at Monza. P15, but we know the car should have a bit better race pace. We've set the car up setup wise for this race, so it's time to make a bit of a comeback as we go to 5 red lights here in Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. It's a real good start for Felipe Drugovich there in the Alfa Romeo. Slow one for George Russell, mediocre one for ourselves, but that may be kind of a good thing because we don't really need to rush into turn 1. Want to see where everyone breaks and peters out to into turn 1. We're going side by side with the Aston Martin, 3 wide ahead between the Alfa Romeo, Alpine and McLaren, and it was almost a good thing we didn't have a good start because we were able to find that space on the inside instead of getting caught up very much like Lance Stroll with a broken front wing. Meanwhile, Lando Norris leads the way. I saw there on the top ladder there from P4 up into P1 for the McLaren as we dive down the inside of his teammate though and try to switch back Esteban Ocon with a very lovely move up into P11. Not too bad progress for only one sector, but let's look at a replay then because Ricciardo's teammate Norris from the second row of the grid, P4 on the soft compound, uses that tyre to good use, gets Verstappen, gets Leclerc, and then dives down the inside of Hamilton. Oh, gets the elbows out there versus Lewis, and then still has to fight him on the exit at the second turn, but then gets up into the lead. But I believe, yep, if you look closely there at the front wing on the left-hand side, I think with that contact, Norris made with Hamilton into turn 1. The McLaren has substantial damage. So even though he's leading the way, Lando may be coming in for an early pit stop. Lewis in second place, Verstappen third, Leclerc fourth then. But what a cracking start for the McLaren. Unfortunately though, I think he is in on the minimap there. So we're going to gain one free position up into P10 and then it'll be P9 if we can overtake this Alfa Romeo. Up ahead, Sergio Perez and Sainz battling away as we still try and finish off this move on the Alfa Romeo, to be honest, because Drugovich comes diving in. He actually hits Perez because you saw how the Red Bull car veered towards us there. So our old teammate really going for it and trying to maintain that position. But in the end, it's no use as he's battling Ricciardo and may even lose that position down into P11. Meanwhile, now on to lap number 3. Hamilton then has been gifted the race lead from Norris. Verstappen in second place, lost it off pole position, but looking to regain this lead on Hamilton. Side by side into turn 1, the Red Bull on the inside. Hamilton will have the inside line for the next left-hander, but the Red Bull is he's got the superior traction on the exit on the outside and is up into first place. But it's so fine on the minimap. They're pretty much all connected together. I think their nose to tail is the same can be said of Perez and Sainz as they trip over each other, slow each other down. That I make the double overtake through Parabolica. But now, as we go down this straight, both Perez and Sainz come back at me. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 1. Perez on the inside, Sainz to the outside. We get pinched in between them. Sainz over the curb and oh my god! Oh, what a crash! What was that? What was that from Carlos Sainz? That was insane. And we've got damage. Oh, we've got damage. The safety car is out though because of that crash. But we've got damage. So we have to come in to change this front wing. It's kind of almost maybe okay because of the safety car, but from here I'm thinking maybe we go onto a set of soft tyres because of the rain on Saturday. We've got all new soft tyres, so maybe you go soft and go for a very aggressive 2-stop now, but we have to come in to change that front wing now under this safety car, but the team don't have a front wing ready. What? Oh my god. For the second time in, what, 3-4 episodes, our team have been caught napping. What's gone on there? Why haven't they changed the front wing? I don't know why they didn't change the front wing. They thought, for whatever reason, they must think the damage was okay to carry on. I mean, I would beg to differ, but now we're here with still a broken front wing on the soft compound tyre. So, oh, this race just got a lot trickier. I actually had some confidence that a 2-stop might actually still work quite well because the soft compound's going to be that much quicker, as we clearly saw with the McLarens. But now, with that slightly broken front wing on the left, I'm just not too sure. I don't have any kind of inkling of how this is going to go because obviously under safety car, it's very hard to tell at racing speed how this damage is going to affect our car. But we're going to find out soon enough as we've gone green now on lap 7, down in P19. Fresh soft tyres on, but slightly damaged wing into turn 1. Oh, there's a big crash. There's a big incident. And there's a huge pile-up of 7 cars. Mick Schumacher's out of the Grand Prix. I think Russell was caught up in that as well. many cars, multiple cars, because we're up into P10 then. So in a flash from P19, was it, to P10, and it all started then with Ricciardo and then Yuki Tsunoda, and then, oh, look at that, 4 wide, 4 cars all with broken front wings, major pile-up, but somehow Russell actually survived that. Alfa Romeo as well in the background, as well as Williams and Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. So quite a few of them actually survived that pile-up, so it wasn't a race-ending 10-car pile-up, but it was a pretty hefty one that caused them a lot of damage. And meanwhile now, we've caught back up then to our teammate, because he's 3 abreast. He was pinched in between Ocon and Carlos Sainz, so the man we literally saw cause the safety car and cause us the damage is right ahead of us, just ahead of our teammate, who I didn't think we were going to be seeing for a while, as he locks up and almost opens the door for a move there, but no, slams it shut then. But this is quite promising actually, because you'll notice my car's actually doing quite well in the corner, so maybe my team were onto something. Maybe we didn't need to change the front wing, and now on these fresh soft tyres we're doing quite well. Add in that pile up we had on the safety car restart, we're actually in an amazing position. We're now looking to overtake our teammate, who we were just catching up to anyway pre the pit stop. He's yet to make a pit stop, so we've pretty much negated that whole time lost coming in under the safety car effectively, as we tried to overtake Albon and Sainz at the same time. Didn't quite work out, because they seem to have a little bit more straight line speed than me actually, even though we were trying to deploy a decent amount of ERS. But alas, we will finish off the move on the Spaniard eventually on lap 9 into the end of sector 1, and now we can look to have a go at our teammate for P5. And oh, up the road, Piastri and Guan Yu Zhou fighting as well. So the Ferrari and Alpine slow each other up, so we may have 3 moves on the cards very soon. We make the move on Albon on the left hand side, looking for that pocket of space ahead of us, but then the Alpine closes the door as he's trying to make a move on Piastri at the same time. So you kind of got 2 different fights going on at the same time. We're looking to finish off the move on Albon, because he actually had a go on us on the inside of Parabolica, but now a new lap is here. We're going to tuck in underneath the rear wing of the Alpine, but we don't know where to go because we're now behind Piastri, and I don't want to dive in too early. Can we go down the inside of Piastri now? Guan Yu Zhou locked up and maybe gave us an in to overtake him as well, but instead I was patient, just finish off the move on the Ferrari. Now we deploy a decent amount of ERS through this curve and looking to make the move on the French outfit. He blocks the left, he's going to block the right hand side as well, and the Chinese driver does very well to defend what would be an amazing podium for him and Alpine right now. Guan Yu Zhou driving the wheels off of this Alpine car. Piastri as well doing very well to fight him for P3, but we're going to try and take it because we have the quicker compounder tyre up into P3. And the thing is, remember, everyone, all of these guys, even Hamilton and Verstappen ahead of us, they're still yet to pit in this race for their first tyre change onto hard tyres, and we've got to make 1 more to get to the end of this race because these softs won't go the distance. So we are here legitimately in P3. We've equalised their entire strategy, and we've negated that extra stop basically. And in the end, actually, our team are vindicated a bit with that no front wing change. So that saved us some time basically. But now, yellows, is there going to be another twist in this race as the safety cars deployed once again? And it's been for Daniel Ricciardo with big incident on the main straight. I don't know what came over Ricciardo, but he just veered right. Should have stepped to the left hand side as he hit the Haas coming out of the pit lane. Very absurd AI mistake there from Ricciardo. So we are in. Unfortunately, Albon, who did just overtake Piastri and Guan Yu Zhou, he's right behind us and he's coming in as well. So we have to double stack. And I have actually said to change my front wing now, because I thought, well, for my race, I may as well change my front wing because we've got such a gap ahead of us that we can't afford to change the front wing. We won't lose too many positions. We'll lose 2 there. And then that's Hamilton going through anyway. But unfortunately, Albon, that means Albon will lose a bit of time. But he'll still be in the realm of the top 10. And the thing is, I think we showed there on the soft compound, and even the medium, to be fair, that our car is working pretty well around here. So I think me and Albon will both be able to recover. We're down to P6, and he is in, I think, around P10 or 11. So both of us having to gain about 4 positions to get back to where we were. But I think that's something that's very doable, as we see the other Ferrari now ahead of us, Leclerc. He pit earlier, along with Hamilton, before the safety car. So he lost out a bit of time there, and he's going to get caught napping a little bit on the restart. Not for the first time the AI have been a bit sluggish on the restart are with ERS usage. Down into turn 1, though. Going to get boxed in because I can't go any deeper into the corner with the Alpine blocking the way. Leclerc actually makes a double overtake to battle Piastri, and we get it crossed up on the rear end as our hard tyres fail to warm up in time, and we've lost 2 further positions to Magnussen knock-on. So in a flash, we've gone from P3 to P8 then in this race with about 11 laps to go in this one. Magnussen getting a bit crossed up there as well. As you can see, everyone's struggling with the hard tyre warm-up, but eventually when they do warm up, I think we can get our head down and make those moves to get up into, I'm hoping minimum P3. You can see on the mini-map, Hamilton and Verstappen, they are in a world of their own today, but we are making gains on the cars ahead. The Alpines, Williams, Ferraris, they are slower cars on paper. We should be catching them. We should be overtaking them, and that's exactly what we're going to start doing here on Ocon potentially. Lap 17, though, just like Guan Yu Zhou, the Alpines have been very good at defending today. You know, both him and Guan Yu Zhou moving just the right amount to block off the racing line and doing quite well. But eventually, we will get the Alpine enough ERS usage, and this time we won't make the same mistake as we did with Zhou. We'll really stick to our guns on the outside there, the long way around, cut in for the inside and get up into P7, and now set our sights on the Williams of Kevin Magnussen. We're actually going to catch up to him and the train with Guan Yu Zhou and the 2 Ferraris, because the 2 Ferraris have been squabbling. Piastri and Leclerc fighting for the top spot. Ferrari at the home Grand Prix, and that's not helped either of them because they've slowed each other down. And that slowed Guan Yu Zhou and Magnussen down as we make the move on the Dane and then look to just straight away keep up with the Alpine to make the move on to lap 19, I would hope, basically, because DRS now is activated. We've got a decent amount of ERS and the car is working well now, even more so. I can definitely feel there's that slightly better turn-in now with the full front wing. Even though the front wing damage wasn't too bad earlier, very drivable. You can notice now the little bite in, just a bit of a sharper turn in, and that helps the air entry and exit. Guan Yu Zhou defending on the inside, trying to break the toe. Can we go on the outside as we watch the 2 Ferraris tango? We're going to try and squeeze out the Chinese driver into P5, and now ahead, set our sights on the 2 Ferraris, who are just too busy squabbling with each other to make any kind of ground on Hamilton Verstappen. I think Hamilton Verstappen a good 5+ seconds clear, so it's very much a race between those two for the top 2 spots. But who can get that final step of the podium with 7 laps to go? I'm feeling pretty confident right now because these two just keep on swapping positions and keep slumming each other up into turn 1. And now we're on the back of the Australian Piastri. No DRS through here, but we're not going to need it. Just enough ERS to push us past. On the left-hand side, Piastri doesn't even put up too much of a fight there, as he maybe senses that we are in a much quicker car. Leclerc may put up a fight, though, because he's got a bit more experience under his belt. He's going to squeeze us right to the right-hand side. They're almost dipping a tyre onto the grass, and he keeps his foot in there, and we're playing a bit of chicken with him into turn 2. The Ferrari jumps the curb, and we avoid him a little bit. Don't want to face the same fate as Sergio Perez, who got absolutely no-scoped out this race by Carlos Sainz earlier. But look at this now. Tyre banging. It's getting a bit frosty here between ourselves and Leclerc in the Ferrari, both trying to just play a bit of chicken with each other as we jockey for position. Leclerc gives us the squeeze, we give him the squeeze, and it's a pretty ferocious fight for P3 there. But we learnt from season 1. Remember last season, we got bullied off so many of these corners because the AI, for whatever reason, are at Monza on this year's game. They're so bloody aggressive. So we learned our lesson there. This time wasn't having any of it, kept our foot in, got the elbow out, kind of repaid the favour to Leclerc to get back into P3. Now Albon has arrived onto the scene because he's up here in P7. Ooh, nearly made the move on the outside of Piastri at Ascari. That would have been very impressive, but what did I say? I knew it wouldn't have been much of an issue for Albon to be pushed down the order with the double stack because I knew he would come back and fight. I just had a feeling, you know, he looked a lot quicker in this race, and he is a lot quicker as he goes down the inside of Leclerc to get up into P4. So ideal, you know, he's as high as he can be without overtaking me, although we'll hold our breath because Guan Yu Zhou and Leclerc come back at him though. 3-1 into turn 1. We've had quite a few good battles into this first turn today. The Ferrari though looks to be the one, maybe the favourable one on the outside. He's actually picked up enough traction to make the double pass to get back into P4. The two now going to be side by side just like me and Leclerc were. Albon now is going to fight Leclerc through this right-hander into the next chicane. left and right. Leclerc on the outside this time, and just like myself versus him, he has the better racing line to keep the position. But Albon will continue to fight this. DRS available to him, and of course we've waltzed away enough that Leclerc does not have anything to defend with DRS himself. And Albon, oh wow, what a move there on the outside of Ascari. Leclerc licking his wounds there a little bit. That was a bit embarrassing for him because that was quite an insane move from Albon up into P4. And now, for whatever reason, I think Leclerc may have burnt out his tyres, or has he got damage? No, he's not got any visible damage, but whatever's the case, his tyres, the car, just himself, he's now down the order. He's been overtaken by the Alpine. He's got the other Alpine right on his tail as well of Esteban Ocon. And look at this, the two Alpines are using each other to gain slipstream, and that's going to allow Ocon to sail through. And so the Ferrari loses 2 positions rather than 1 maybe from the two Alpines. He's going to fight it on the exit, but once again, the car fighting and may have a good chance to finish off the pass, as Ocon is determined to try and join his teammate up here in the top 6. The two Alpines looking to take the fight to the Ferraris. In this case, remember also, Piastri, he was here, but he's now down to P16. I think he had some sort of issue with his car, so it's once again a bit of an implosion from Ferrari. They started so well, they were doing so well for most of this race, but just like in real life, it's fallen away a little bit for them. And Leclerc down to P7. He's now under pressure from Kevin Magnussen in the Williams. The Ferrari may just be overtaken by, and he has. Oh, he's been overtaken very easily. Okay, something clearly is wrong with the car, because that was rather embarrassing. The Williams waltzed past the Ferrari and was up the order. So it really is another sorry sight for Ferrari, but it's a great day if you're Max Verstappen, who has dominated this one ever since getting into the lead of this race, and he's going to win the Italian Grand Prix. Hamilton comes in 2nd place, ourselves in 3rd to limit the damage to our 2 championship rivals, but those 2 were on a world of their own. So fair play. We've got some work to do. We need to improve the car, because clearly in a race like this, we just weren't able to catch them. We were 5 seconds back, but we just didn't catch them at all.
Here we are then. It's a thoroughly deserved win here in Italy after another excellent Grand Prix. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In the race where half the field weren't classified at the checkered flag, we were able to guarantee a good result by basically keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they've secured here.
So Verstappen, after a decent while, for Red Bull, he's back on the top step of the podium, and that is a very important win. It's an important podium there for all 3 of us in terms of, solidifying that 3 of us are going to be in the championship fight, because I think at this point, Albon in P4 is going to slip quite a bit away now in terms of points to the leader, and even just, the 2nd place and 3rd place, man. So I think, even though mathematically there may still be a chance, realistically, this podium are your championship contenders. Red Bull, the Mercedes, the ourselves, Verstappen, Hamilton, myself, and that's going to bring things a lot closer there, with Verstappen getting the win, much needed win, because he was in 3rd place in the standings, so he had more to gain here by winning this race, and he's jumped up into P2 actually there, and overtaken Hamilton, so now he's 4 points back from ourselves. Hamilton a further 2, 6 points covering the top 3, and we've only got a handful of races left. It is game on here in Season 2. Constructors-wise, though, because of that pretty strong showing, Albon getting the P4 as a team, we're still looking pretty damn comfy. 41 points, that's a decent margin to breathe there to Mercedes and Red Bull. So it's looking good in that sense, but we still have to focus, because easily that could be overturned if both myself and Albon have some poor races in the remaining ones. But that was a pretty chaotic Italian Grand Prix, and in the end, even despite the damaged wing and the 2-stop, the aggression worked out for us, paid off. Pretty good Grand Prix in the end to limit the damage there, as I said, from the Saturday, and we did pretty damn well to get on the podium. Guys, if you have enjoyed that, hit the like button, let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.